Hello and welcome everybody to week number 2 of the NASCC. It is being brought to you today by, surprise, a full EU broadcast team, because we got myself here today and Alpha Jackal with me bringing you on the cast. And it's going to be a great one because we got two very highly rated teams here. And I believe, AJ, we've had a few people say that these might well be the top two teams of this phase.
I mean, might be is an understatement. I think these two are definitely the top two. I mean, going into the qualifying tournament for SPL, this Valhalla Valkyries team, before they were called the Winner Dogs, were touted as the top team going into that tournament. So, and they inexplicably didn't qualify. 2 chances, 2 strikes, and now this is their 3rd strike going into trying to just come up through the SCC and show that it's another SCC run like we had last year with Hex Mambo.
Well, we have seen with, for example, there, Hex Mambo, you can make it quite far in the SCC. You know, maybe this is what this team is better suited to. And we'll get a good look at that as we get on into the picks and bans phase for this first game. Now, it is very relevant to mention the Kaolin Wardens here will be playing with 2 changes to their roster, as Masked has now been removed from their roster, and it will instead be Short Fuse playing there. And Panda Cat has been substituted out for a Real Cat, as Meerkat will be coming on in. How does that affect things, AJ? You know, your preparation coming into this game, maybe not expecting to have to make these changes. So are you just hoping to play your usual game and, well, hope that it still sticks?
Well, I think in their jungle switch, where it's more of a permanent swap, they're going to have been expecting that. They're going to have practiced with Short Fused week in, week out in the lead up to that swap, so that's not going to affect them too much. But the one that really is going to affect them, Panda Cat, such a dominant force back in his traditional ADC role, obviously brings a wealth of experience, a wealth of comms knowledge as well, could be a real leader for the Kaolin Wardens. To lose him as well in this sort of game, in this probably the biggest set of the SCC that we're going to have so far, it is probably the worst timing for them.
Yeah, like you say, that old experienced head on the shoulders of Panda Cat come through. Might not appreciate me calling him old there, but, you know, we're old for SMITE players here and very quickly suddenly. So, but like you said, you're missing a lot of that experience, like in the comms, the knowledge, and you know, especially because this team for the Valhalla Valkyries, a lot of them, not quite all of them, have been playing SPL as recently as last year. So Panda Cat will have played against this team. They would have prepared to play against this team. And, you know, you do lose that. Maybe some information could be passed on, but at the end of the day, not all of it can be passed on at once. But shockingly, surprisingly somewhat, Ratataska coming through as top pick for the Wardens. Now, last week, AJ, I called with you that their top pick coming through for Thor previously was actually going solo. Are you expecting this to be a rat solo, or would you put this rat in the jungle?
Well, you want to get your jungler comfortable, given that he's just going to be playing his first set of the SCC today. So just give him what he wants. Give him the Ratatasker. And from what memory I do have, Short Fuse does have a really strong Ratatasker pick. We saw Captain Twig piling it earlier in the SPL today, so you know, there is good merit to it. I think Rat's in a very strong place right now, especially with his rotational ability. I like it. I like it as his first pick.
Yeah, pretty good first pick. And the top 2 coming out from the Valks, we've got the Hercules and the Ishtar, 2 absolute mainstays. It would be surprising if ever that these 2 gods did not feature in a game where be that picked or banned. But Merlin and Terra coming through as well. Really strong top 3 for the Wardens. It's tough for the Valks because with the Wardens draft, doesn't give anything away and still could put this Ratatasker in the jungle or the solo lane.
No, they can put it anywhere. You have to think about as well what other gods have been like sort of top pick, top bans. Vamana has been talked about as this undeniably unstoppable pick. There's just not been even hovered by either team. Nox is going to be taken up here by the Valkyries. Ooh, it's a spicy counter to Terra, that one. I think it can do well. It's a very 50-50 matchup, this one. If Terra's able to get off some abilities before the Suns comes off, Terra usually wins. If Nox stops the Terra combo from coming out, stops that engagement coming out, stops that Earthen Fury from being cast especially, the Nox just wins this matchup hands over fist.
Well, it seems a bit early for the Nox, but like you say, if it is pretty good into this Terra, as we'll have to see if it works out that way, it's not too surprising if the Wardens may have banded away. Now, unsurprisingly, the Valkyries opt to take away both the Kernanos and the Jingwei, means that, well, the Wardens will have to be dropping down the ADC pool a little bit, but I don't know, once you get past those really tip-top tier gods of the ADC pool, it really starts to be a bit wide, so I'm surprised that they've targeted Outgriff with those choices.
But again, I think it's just going to make sure that they feel it's okay to put pressure in the mid lane already, because they've got a weaker matchup there. But then if they put pressure to one of the side lanes, the Hercules is going to be fine by himself, completely fine. We're going to get us a Loki pick in just a bit, by the way. Very interesting there. But then just put the ADC, which is the only last piece of the puzzle, onto something sub-tier, something that has a negative matchup into the Ishtar, and then suddenly you have control in all 3 lanes straight away.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense, and I can see that coming. Now, you wanted to talk about AJ, I'm going to give it right on back to you to talk about this Loki pick. Well, how are you thinking this one's going to go?
Well, the Loki pick up into the Ratatasker, not actually a strong matchup for the Loki. This...
Production? Can you fix that last pick, please?
Please? Yeah, so it says spectator there, is what I'm seeing down at the bottom for their final one. I'm not too sure.
Spectator. Okay. Funny enough, AJ, this is very relevant. You yourself put out a tweet earlier on today, and you asked who is the weakest god in Smite right now. I myself decided to reply to that, and my response specifically was Shiva. I still stand by that. I don't really see what Shiva brings to the table here.
No, I think right now there are 2 warriors, and this is being backed up by a couple of solo laners, which I've spoken to. There are 2 warriors right now where if you pick them, you are having almost a negative effect on your team. Shiva and Gilgamesh right now just feel in quite, not painful spots, but really bad spots. They need a little bit of luck. Shiva probably will do well in this early game, don't get me wrong. I think can have a decent matchup in the laning phase against Hercules, can just withstand his bullying. But when it comes to later game, he needs to have some damage online, which means it's going to be a bit squishier. And then he's diving into a Nox, diving into a Loki, diving into a Scylla. He's just going to get blown up here before he gets anything done.
Well, we'll have to see if Relentless One here can show us something different, because what we're expecting is for this Shiva to not go well, but it's all about expecting things. How about we actually see how it goes as we head on in to game number 1 between the Kaolin Wardens and the Valhalla Valkyries. Now, no surprises on the... Whoa, wait.
Okay. What have you spotted? That's
a Loki mid and a Scylla jungle. AJ, break it down for us.
Well. Loki, like I mentioned, doesn't really have a good matchup against the Ratatasker, because Loki, in his early game, wants to just farm up, Rat will invade him non-stop, and Loki can't do anything about it. Scylla, on the other hand, can start to fight back a little bit sooner, where they are a mage. Mages, repeat after me, are broken right now. Good, I'm glad we all said it. I'm glad we all said it at the same time. I'm glad we're all on the same wavelength. And then also in the exact same sort of breath, Loki in the mid lane can just build up his ability damage, can stack up his items a little bit quicker, can, rotate to other lanes a little bit more haphazardly, and a little bit more, surprisingly, rather than a jungle Loki would do. So it might have a little bit of a greater effect, and it puts the Merlin under a little bit of kill pressure as well.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how that works out. Mainly, though, for the Scylla in the jungle. Now, Shiva doing Shiva things as Aquarius goes and picks up first blood there. About what we would have expected. Maybe, well, you said Shiva would do well in the early game. I think that early game might have already passed.
Yeah, the early game was the first, the negative seconds of the game before minions spawn. That's the early game for Shiva, where he does well. He can run fast out of base.
Well.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. The walk is great with Shiva. The only surprise about that kill is that it happened a minute later than I expected it to.
I mean, okay. Look, it's not over. Hercules is the type of god who, does really well with the lead, of course. You can be somewhat of a bully in lane, but I would be very shocked if you see the Relentless One go down again. So sometimes that's a little bit.
It
You
might
know,
happen.
It won't happen. It can't happen. Let's see, the driving strike missed. It won't happen again. So that's not happening. But again, what does the Scylla jungle bring to the table? It's going to be a slow starter god for sure, but are you expect to be big once it gets online?
Well, what it's going to bring is going to bring Doom Orb early on, as we have a little bit of skirmish on this left-hand side. Wow, we're taking the brunt of damage there. Dashes away. Gamma's going to be safe here. Dashes through the wave. But yeah, the Scylla going to get Doom Orb early. Going to be able to rotate quite quickly around Aquarius. Oh,
Soloed by Shiva. Soloed by Shiva with the help of Short Fuse coming in. Necessary gank there from Short Fuse to keep that Shiva from falling too far behind. So we're on as even at the solo lane right now. Yeah, I guess it will depend on the presence of the junglers to impact that lane much further.
Yeah, then Scylla's rotations ability is going to be really at level 5, level 9, and level 12 is where you're going to see like her power spikes. Level 5 for the ult, level 9 for the max crush, and level 12 for the multi-root. Those are going to be the 3 power spikes to look out for Sam Fasaki here. And don't be surprised if, you know, we don't see Sam do much until that second power spike at level 9.
So yeah, Scylla, of course, one of those gods who obviously typically found in the middle lane, but if you do drop them in the mid lane, you can just wait for that Scylla to come online. Now, mid lane, generally these days, as we've touched on, needs to be a bit more involved early on, you know, wants to rotate, wants to be having an impact, and of course, you know, taking over these fights around these mid camps. So I actually somewhat agree with putting Scylla somewhere else. Is still not particularly strong in the mid at the moment. Not quite sure jungle is quite the way forward, but Scylla combined with a Nox and support, which I've just sort of pointed out, that combo could be absolutely massive.
Oh, Relentless One under a lot of pressure. Ooh, the Bolden nearly getting the kill. He's a lucky boy there. Lucky boy.
Yeah, quite lucky, but I mean, you know, also could have run the numbers. You know, if you're going to pick Shiva, you got to be confident in it, and well, you know, it worked out well enough there. Still alive, not falling down a second time, and not falling behind particularly much at all.
Oh, Griff and Wowie trading some blows over here on the left-hand side. Interesting enough, Wowie going this slightly different start, which I have seen touted as a potential route for some ADCs, which is going straight for these Griffin Wing earrings. Get yourself a lot of attack speed, gets you your MP5 early, gets you a lot of power as well. The only downside to this is that you do delay your sustain. So
yes,
if you do take fights, you are having to all in, otherwise you are just losing heavily.
Yeah, losing heavily, but then as we get to the late game, we actually find because of the lack of a start right now, we see these Ishtars picking up Seer of the jungle later on, which really helps with your objective shred down too. So it tells me, AJ, that the Valhalla Valkyries are looking to go late, and with the Scylla in the jungle, who can really blame them?
Well, you have Scylla, you have Loki, you have Ishtar, Hercules becomes an unstoppable late game. It is a great comp for late game, and great comp to gank onto a Shiva yet again.
Well, ganking in, but here is Short Fuse as well. Now Sam Fasaki uses the Sentinel to retreat. Aquarius, though, no driving strike available, means they will fall down yet again in this solo lane to Relentless One. Shiva with top kills in the game. What do we know criticizing this Shiva pick?
Shiva S tier, S plus tier, SS tier, get whatever is the top of your leaderboard right now. Shiva the best god in the game, and you know it. But really, it's all been facilitated by Short Fuse on this Ratatasker, this top pick Ratatasker. It started off the game well, which is what you want as sort of like a nerve calmer here for your first game back in the SCC. And I expect him to continue going this way. Relentless One rooted, he has beads.
He does have beads, no teleport available, which means that first death was particularly punishing, but obviously seems to have made up the ground. You know, equal in gold, pretty much. Not really struggling against this Hercules in lane. Sam Fasaki finally getting involved, as you mentioned, hit that level 5, has the root available and the armor monster when needed, but hasn't put it quite to good use. And you know, it's tentative from both sides, and no one wanted to overstep too hard because, well, this game really will come along, you know, come alive later on.
Yeah, I think when it starts to break down with the laning phase, it has the roaming phase where you're sort of having 3 people just leave a lane together in the jungle, looking for maybe a sneaky objective or a sneaky rotation to the side lanes. That's when you're going to see this game start to burst into life a little bit more action in the jungle, a little bit more kill focus. But for now, both teams happy to farm up past their relatively weak early games to try and hit that mid.
not Gino, interested in scrapping it out with Erupt Crimson, who's more than happy to slash on away. Now Griff being looped around on by Gamma. Aware of it, but does not get the root. And Griff wants to go in for even more. Not phased by the 1v2 situation. Will fire shots into the back of Gamma, but sending knocks away. Now Semper Soccer gets a root onto not Gino, who cannot catch a stun with that wall coming through, and just takes a ton of poke in the process. And then will heal themselves back up with the obelisk, and that's just how it is at the moment. No one even committing an ultimate across the map right now.
Hey, it's Doomwarp. That's what you get with Sinner and Doomwarp. Nearly approaching level 9, and like I mentioned before, that's the big power spike to look out for. Has finished up a big power item, and could be looking for some fighting soon. Gamma forced to use the ult, the Night Terror, to be immune to that pull. And looks like there was a Cosmos used as well by Short Fuse, so ult for ult trade there.
Yeah, it's Kaolin Wardens being on the front foot, wanting to be the ones to make something happen, but again, Valkyries not interested in the fight. So sort of playing back defensively as much as they don't really need to. It does seem to be a choice because there's not really a whole lot to get. Now, Goldfury being up, but Valkyries without a whole lot of objective burn might struggle. As Semper Soccer and Aquarius looking to again make a play on this blue buff, and
oh, what a steal!
With that boulder over the wall. Relentless one needs to be careful because Crimson's around, and that will be a retreat for the Wardens.
Yeah, when in doubt, throw a rock and you might just hit something, and he's hit a strike. Got himself that buff steal. Gino looking for a return steal over on this side of the map. We are rooted, but not inside that Summit steals. Help buff secured by the Valkyries, but look who's going aggressive. Griff wants in.
Griff is just charging forward. W key plus left click equals kill. And it might even be a bit more than that because Gamma's taking some shots. Griff more than happy to go for it. Rolls forward. Do they have any sort of CC to slow down Gamma? Does not appear to be the case. However, the Astral Barrage is anything but and does not get it. That will be the ult down. Traded out for the Night Terrors of Erupt Crimson. That's the mid Loki all the way over. Spotted out on a ward and will not be able to get any more. But that's a couple of kills for the Kaolin Wardens. And, you know, taking a 3-1 kill lead always feels good at the start of the game.
It feels good until you look at your bars and realize, hang on, they're ahead in gold. What's going on here? They're not ahead by much, only by about 100 gold here. But again, you would think, okay, we got First Blood. We've been managing to secure, you know, some good farm over on this left-hand side. Neutral farm's been good. We've invaded once as well.
Meerkat with the flicker forward by mistake gets caught by the flurry of strikes, and then the I am a monster from Semper Soccer. That's just what happens when you play Merlin and you decide you want to pick which stance you're switching to next.
That's what happens when you decide, hey, I'm going to push up against a Loki Scylla. Just in general, no matter which god, unless you're Yu Huang, because Yu Huang just has the immortal I get out of jail free card every single time he has it.
Well, when you do that sort of play, especially one where you flicker forward somewhat inexplicably, you can't be feeling too good, especially with Meerkat swapping out for Pandacat. I do wonder if Pandacat would have made that same play in that situation. Likely not, but I'm sure Meerkat will not be pulling that one again. Now, again, it was seemingly that Valhalla Valkyries were not too interested in fighting, but, I mean, when you see an opportunity like that, right, you just got to take it.
Yeah, if you see somebody misstep, play themselves too far forward, you got to just punish them for it. Even if you don't get anything from it, it's just, it slows down their farm, might give you a slight window to go for a buff invade.
Yes.
And start putting your wards out more aggressively. Nope.
Not this time.
Down to Gunner Ball this time. Gunner Ball.
No strike this time, and maybe we'll be aiming for the spare on the next time up. But again, everyone just sort of scrapping over these little small buffs. Pyromancer is now spawning. It's 5 kills, but it's felt slow-paced, especially for an NA game. That's not what we're used to seeing over here. But your Gold Fury's still available. You'd think it's got to be the Kaolin Wardens wanting to go first, but Short Fuse blows the blink and doesn't connect with it. However, Meerkat caught again, no beads. That's what Loki can do in the middle lane.
Just caught out unawares yet again, Meerkat. But I think that's just Kaolin Wardens in general being misplaced. It looked like Short Fuse and Gino wanted to go aggressive. Oh, but Gamma's being aggressed on here. There goes the other Fury. This should be a kill onto the Nox support. They're using the Gold Fury to good effect here.
Gamma with no dash, but now has the dash back. Astral Barrage has to wait out the entire duration. Finally fires off a shot. How long can Gamma stay in that form? But Short Fuse sweeping up. Gets Sampasaka, which is a bigger target, and the support will trade on out. Does not. Gino gets the kill, but Short Fuse will fall down to Wowie in the process. Just like that, it explodes into life. But with 2 down on both sides means no objective being called just yet.
Gold Fury option? Not quite. As you mentioned, ADC down for Kaolin Wardens. Meanwhile, on the side of Valhalla Valkyries, their big AoE mage damage in Sampasaka, and that Scylla has been taken out of the game as well. So neither team can really press on this objective. This one has made a rotation just in case. Valkyries are feeling a little bit frisky with that objective, but no dice.
No dice just yet. The Pyromancer's on the right-hand side as well. Maybe we'll take eyes at that. We've seen a lot of trading back and forth lately between the Pyro and the Gold Fury, but with the strength of the Runic Bomb, AJ, generally we would say Gold Fury is always worth more than the Pyro, but I don't know. Is that still the case these days? Because the Runic Bomb can really change a game.
I would say that the Runic Bomb probably makes the Pyromancer the more worthwhile objective. Yes, you do get less gold from it. Yes, you sometimes won't even get sort of the benefit that a Oni or a Primal Fury will give you, but what you do allow yourself to do is you allow yourself to probably take down a Fire Giant and secure it. You allow yourself to secure a Phoenix or a Tower later on down the line. It's banking yourself an objective later on in the game.
Yeah, banking on holding on to it. Now, we have seen, of course, with the variants of a Runic Bomb, sometimes it, gets used and doesn't actually pay off. So I suppose Gold Fury in that sense would be considered the more consistent and reliable objective, but it's the Pyromancer being started up by the Valhalla Valkyries. Short Fuse is nearby, but they're not in time, as the Valkyries will take the Pyromancer down pretty cheaply there, and a good play from the Chaos side.
Well, that is going to be the first real objective of the game secured for either teams as we start to head towards that midpoint like we were hoping to get to. That one where the lanes start to dissolve. There isn't really somebody sitting in mid unless there is a Loki and a Scylla just sitting in the jungle waiting to pounce on you. If your name's Meerkat, they're going to do so again.
They pounce on in, get the Aegis out, but the I'm a Monster will provide the damage needed for another kill onto this Merlin. Now, can they aggress even further? Looks like they will stop. This tower is a bit tough to take down. Don't want to be dashing in aggressively, but Short Fuse does. Dunks on down, but then drops the stun. Now, hold on. Onto the scene is Shiva coming in from the side, though. And what do they have after the fact? Because Aquarius is also here. Driving Strike into some danger. Smashing up. Pops the Shield of Thorn. We're wiggling around a bit. We'll now start the Shiva Tandava. Short Fuse lifted and killed off. Just like that by a Wowie. Relentless One has to retreat under the tower and loses the bees. This fight is just winning more and more for the Valkyries.
15 minutes in, we could see the first Gold Fury of the game go down as well. Valhalla Valkyries exploding into life here as the Solo Enders start to make their presence known in this game. Gino wants to try and contest his objective. Dashes in, has to dash out as well because of the damage sustained. Because there are Griffs here, Meerkat's in the vicinity as well. Relentless One making his rotation in. And the Valhalla Valkyries back off. The defense is good, just showing face. Sometimes that's all you have to do.
Sometimes it is what you have to do, and it does result in the Valkyries not being able to take that Gold Fury, which they were probably in a very good position for, but at least the Wardens show in presence, showing a willingness to fight, and Aquarius takes some damage, but Merlin-Shiva combination just not quite putting out enough damage to take down a level 15 Hercules at this stage.
I don't think they'll be able to take down level 15 Hercules at any stage of the game at this point, when he's far ahead of them. See, it's level 15 compared to the level 14 and 13. No anti-heal online. I think Hercules is going to be A-OK just walking up to them and spamming VEL, VEL, VEL.
Spamming VEL and also spamming those knockups and driving strike combinations, I'm sure. We've seen a lot of Hercules now in year 10 so far, in particular since the professional and semi-professional seasons have started up. Now, Gino needs to be careful because there's a lot of members of the Valkyries around that corner, but with the Astral Barrage on the map, it's really tough for the Valkyries to ever feel safe taking this.
No, I don't think they're in a position where they can take it without first taking a fight. And I think if Kaolin Wardens were on the objective, they'd feel the exact same way. Both of them don't have the major... I mean, Valhalla Valkyries have Scylla, but it can be overrun again, like you mentioned, by that Astral Strike coming from Griff. Meanwhile, Kaolin Wardens are worried about the exact opposite. They're worried about the other monster coming out over the top of the wall and just killing the objective. So neither of them are going to take so without getting rid of the threat first.
We're going to have to take a fight early, and again, with the soul laners rotating to this mid lane, feels like it's been here for quite some time. Aquarius does not get the knockup, and Terra doesn't really care, having the passive ability to avoid those knockups and knockbacks, but Relentless One's still hunting around. Everyone's finally poised, and the solo lane being pretty much ignored at this point.
Yeah, but looking at where the minions are, eventually what's going to happen is that tower is going to fall down in favor of the Valhalla Valkyries. So it's up to a Relentless One or somebody from the Kaolin Wardens to go over there and stop that push from happening. As Relentless One does find himself, he's fine. He has to activate his, well, he has to activate his thorns, but he's fine. He's managed to escape.
The Thorns is an interesting choice, especially combined with that Purification Beads as well. But now this is where the action wants to kick off, but the retreat comes out from the Wardens. However, Relentless One didn't get the message. Uses the Shiva Tandava with that little bit of immunity and retreat ability. And now getting pulled right back in. His short fuse dunking down onto absolutely everyone. But there's a lot of low health bars on both sides. No one quite confirming enough damage to confirm these kills. Blinking forward though, and finally we get a killing spree coming out from Wowie, finding the shots needed, but trading back out. Merlin goes in, Merlin goes down. Now it's 1 for 2 so far, but look at who is left standing. It is just this Terra to fall down next, not Gino. Cannot sustain through all of that damage. There are 2 members left alive, and Erupt Crimson wants to make it 1. We'll have to give that one up, and instead the Valkyries turn their attention to this Gold Fury.
They've got rid of the prime target. Griff is down. He's down to 8 seconds. This Gold Fury has no one to contest over. This Gold Fury has no one to potentially steal it. The Valhalla Valkyries, after a successful fight, are rewarded with the objective and extend their lead over to that 5,500 gold. But it didn't start well for them. Short Fuse, with a monstrous Ratatasker going into the middle of 4 people, knocking them all up. You think, at that point, 4-man through the Cosmos, 4-man Earth and Fury for the Kaolin Wardens. That should be fight over. That should be game, set, match for that objective, and maybe even go into the Fire Giant instead. But Valhalla Valkyries, they split that fight so well with the positioning of Aquarius, just bullying the backline of the Kaolin Wardens that they couldn't follow up from that massive engage.
It was a great engage, and like you said, the distance was just so great that, you know, we did see Meerkat had to commit so hard to get forward. Flickers in to the action, but by the time they get even just 1 spell off, they were just killed it off. So really, really tough there for the Wardens. Maybe got a little bit overexcited. Short Fuse, of course, new addition to the team, maybe got quite excited on the comms, and maybe was a bit, well, not quite as good an opportunity as they thought. But Gino now pushed into some danger, but drops the ring of I do not die. That I'm a monster will not finish off this Terror, but it's a good shot. Again, free-handed from San Francisco. A lot of experience on this god, despite being a jungle main, but piloting the Scylla really well so far.
Valhalla Valkyries get the Pyromancer, yet another objective in the bag, and this is going to be their second runic bomb, actually.
Yep.
So this is either 1 objective defo secured, or it's 2 objectives that they can get, 2 towers that they can get very easily, or even a Phoenix they can just push in and instantly take with Aquarius and San Francisco. But the fact that they got Poly as well, I'm banking on them just split pushing a Phoenix instantly.
And there is 1 runic bomb, though, used to take down this tower nice and quick in the solo lane. Just the first tower on this right-hand lane, but all 3 tier 1s down. Relentless One in so much danger. Has to pop the Shiva Tandava and gets aggressive with it, but takes so much damage in the process. Now they are alive still, and there is Meerkat going in. They decided they have to commit, but commit at your peril, as Wowie shall take down this first kill. Short Fuse likely to follow, and now the damage being fired out into the back and not Gino. Wowie with the double, Valhalla Valkyries with the 3-peat. And that is just more trouble for the Wardens at risk of losing this right-hand Phoenix.
This is where this composition excels. We talked about it, that they wanted to reach this late game point. It was seen in Wowie's build. It was seen in the fact that they put San Francisco on this Scylla in the jungle to facilitate the farming there. They're online now. The damage is there. It is showing in these team fights. Kaolin Wardens do not have an answer for this step up in DPS.
Yeah, I think you saw the commit coming through from Meerkat in particular, but even Relentless One just wanting to get in the face of the Valkyries. And, you know, we hadn't mentioned it, but look at the gold lead right now. It's 9k right now. Before that fight, it was already 6k. Like, the Kaolin Wardens must have spotted that they're so far behind. The only way they can win a fight is by taking, well, maybe one in not such a good position. And now Relentless One goes in early. Short Fuse followed up after the fact, and it was just too much for the Wardens to handle. And now they're really banking on the Valkyries making a mistake.
Yeah, it's getting close to that point where they are forced to rely on a major mistake, and that's around that 10,000 gold mark is when that happens. In fact, if we do have a look at the graphs, I believe it's sitting just above that 8,000 gold mark, and it's the 12,000 experience difference. That is where the lead really starts to be painful. Yeah. There are a few level 20s on the side of Valhalla Valkyries, 2 to be exact, so that 12,000 experience is a little bit misleading. The fact that some of that will be eaten up into that level 20s. But the Kaolin Wardens are still probably 9,000, 10,000 experience ahead.
Well, they're still ahead, and they're going to try to look to extend that lead as they take down this Oni Fury. Gamma's just tanking up and taking no damage in the process. Not Gino passively taking even more. I have a monster coming through, and the Assassinate to follow up. Gino's still alive, but only for a moment. And Short Fuse blown up by Sanfa Soccer. I think that was a one-shot coming out combined with the Polynomicon proc. What do you do if you're the Wardens? You absolutely cannot contend with this.
At this point, there's two things you can do. One, pray to God that you manage to get to like 30 minutes into the game. Option 2, F6 now and go into Game 2's draft. Because it is at this point where you have to rely on them to make a mistake. You have to rely on them to slow the game down to the point where there are enhanced fire giants you can potentially steal. But Valhalla Valkyries, they're a tenured team. They won't let this lead slip. They won't let this, momentum stop. What they will do is they'll push down towers and phoenixes with this fire giant and probably look to end the game before the 27-minute mark.
Well, there's fire-only minions pushing down the right-hand lane, which means that the pressure from the Valks will come in this middle lane. Now, Short Fuse will go on cleanup duty. Needs to be careful because those guys will hit pretty hard. Sanfasak and Rapkrum's just waiting for Short Fuse on the return. They wait long enough. It's about to come through the door. They're in the right position. Short Fuse somehow seems to have a sixth sense about that and fully aware of the potential coming through. And it's all a matter of when the Valkyries decide to push in, and not if.
I think they were just waiting for him to go to a speed buff, thinking, okay, I'm in my jungle, I'm fine, I'm gonna collect my speed buff, get some farm. Oh my god, I'm dead. That was the ideal scenario there for the Valhalla Valkyries. But like you mentioned, Short Fuse, he's not. It's not his first game of Smite. No. He knows the playbook. He knows exactly what's happening when you're this far behind. You're in trouble if you step foot into the jungle by yourself.
What's pointing out here, AJ? Just, to give some credence to the Kaolin Wardens. Relentless One on the Shiva. Best slash line on the team. It's... I do wonder...
Do we play some B tier now, then?
I can at least move up to D tier.
Okay.
but look, when you are the Wardens in this situation, like you said, you're already thinking about Game 2 draft, most likely, because the Valkyries are going to struggle to let this one go, but you still have to see if they can actually put it all together. Why do you say it's really gone wrong for the Wardens? It kind of fell out of their hands quite quickly.
I would say the problem was that it's a difficult one to pinpoint because I don't think it was draft mainly on their end. I think their draft is fine, apart from the Shiva. I still don't understand it, but it was mainly the fact that Valhalla Valkyries draft just caught them off guard. I feel in terms of the Loki switch up. Yep. I think that their communications and their team play just wasn't quite up to the standard like it used to be, and that's probably due to the fact that they have a sub in the mid lane. It's one of their first times we were Short Fuse in a competitive game, and Valhalla Valkyries have just taken advantage of both and dominated that mid side of the map.
Well, they won't want to be thinking about Game 2. They'll want to be thinking about how they can push the Valhalla Valkyries out of their Phoenix. Now, they've already got one. Short Fuse again with a good engage onto Crimson. Doesn't get enough done. Relentless One on the retreat. Has to use the beads as well. Valkyries are just toying with this process. They are making it slow, making it take a very long time. Get another set of purification beads off a short fuse. Looks like the Wardens have given it all they got, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough.
They still have the Runic Bomb on Sam for Soccer, so they can go in with this minion wave and just take up and blow up the Phoenix if they wanted to. That's exactly what Sam for Soccer is. He's engaged it with the blink.
It engages all the way in, but takes a ton of damage and has to retreat on away. Now that's the barrage down. Short Fuse trying to clean up the kill. Doesn't quite get that last hit. Relentless One will die for it because Short Fuse is off the table. Now Griff has to back on up because Erupt Crimson is slicing and slashing through them. Gino dashes in. Gino falls to the grave as well. Sam for Soccer re-engaging again, and Crimson will get the shots with the poison. It is just the backline of the Wardens remaining, no front line to speak of.
And this should be the game, ladies and gentlemen. They might take this a bit more meticulously and take the Phoenix, but they're backing off. I'm very surprised. Yes, Gamma and Sam for Soccer are low, but Aquarius, full health, Crimson and Wowie still able to sustain up a little bit more than they can usually do. Don't forget, it's just 2 damage dealers, 2 squishies, who, if you have a look at their relics, are in dire need of some cooldowns to come back up.
Yeah, they're really struggling. Now we do have the beads, of course, on Meerkat still, but how effective is that going to be into a Scylla? I'm a monster with Polynomicon. You know, Sam for Soccer is doing so much damage so quickly that, you know, it's just hard to contend with. You can't really avoid a blink in from Scylla. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. They did well to deflect them this first time. Well, the second time coming up, left lane Phoenix, the most important Phoenix, of course, already down. This right lane Phoenix, still weak from the first time they took it.
Hey, another plus point to the Shiva. Top damage on his team. Look at it right now. They got 20,760. He's just shy of 7,000 damage higher than his ROM. What more can you ask for the Shiva pick? This is unbelievable. It moves up to C tier now from that D tier.
Climbing all the way up to C tier is Relentless One's Shiva. What can Relentless One do to help their team climb out from this hole they're in? Valhalla Valkyries, though, taking this exceedingly slowly, it feels like. I'm not sure they quite needed to take this time, but, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's can always make sure you get this early win, and shows how seriously they're taking the Kaolin Wardens.
Yeah, it's the death by 1,000 cuts. And also just make sure that you are taking it slow but securing the game. If you rush, you have a chance to mess up and a chance to open the door to let them back in. So I don't mind the fact that they are taking it slowly.
It's nice and slow, but Sam for Soccer again takes some poke. Mid lane Phoenix low, right lane Phoenix deleted by Erupt Crimson swooping in. What does the defense look like for the Kaolin Wardens? Do they have anything left to give? Griff is playing tower defense, trying to keep the minions out of the Titan room. As Erupt Crimson having to assassinate away there. Griff has to take a long way back to the fountain as there's a baseball in the way. Relentless One dancing in the faces, showing all the moves they've got, but can they move away from the damage? Gets lifted again. The fight fall down. Short Fuse goes in, only onto Gamma though, and now gets rooted in place. Where's the Hammer Monster? There it is, but it doesn't connect just yet. Meerkat does take down Crimson, but Short Fuse falls in the process. Again, Relentless One get back to safety. They are leaping, but they are not succeeding. And that is, again, Sam for Soccer looping away. It is a matter of when they can take it down. Meerkat does still put out some good damage. Gino puts out a bit of CC. Sam for Soccer low, gets caught, gets killed off, actually. Now the Scylla does fall, but Meerkat in some danger. There are only 3 members remaining. Lifted back out is Meerkat. Will ages to walk back. The Titan is still full health through this entire process. And look at the damage that Meerkat's putting out. Wowie gets caught. The backline is gone. The Valhalla Valkyries mess around with it a bit, and the Kaolin Wardens are still alive in this game.
The door creaks open ever so slightly. There's just a small draft breezing in right now, and that's the Kaolin Wardens peering through into the game room right now, thinking, is there a chance? Can this be possible? Is this game starting to become ever so slightly winnable for us? 31 minutes into the game, level 20s across the board, so experience does not matter. Gold, look at the builds right now. Valhalla Valkyries, full build on 4 members of the teams, while Kaolin Wardens started to catch up in gold as well. This is the best chance possible for them to get something into this game and stall it for a bit longer to the point where they're even. If you're a fan of the Kaolin Wardens, that's the play you wanted to see. Meerkat popping off, more specifically, Gino doing what needed to do.
Oh, Meerkat popped off, but then gets popped in the right-hand lane as Gino as well taking a lot of damage just to the enemy front line. There is Short Fuse going in onto Gamma, but I'm not sure that's the target you want to be focusing your attention to. As the three-man lift into a three-man I'm a monster means Gino is more than out with this bike. Grift firing back the shots, relentless one on the backside. And they provide NECC to get on top of this Scylla. They can, as can Short Fuse, and they will take down Semphasaurus. Griff's trying to fire off, but Wowie is back on the scene. And now it is just Relentless One. Can they carry this Shiva from the C tier to the B tier? It's going to be a massive, monumental effort if they can keep this game going any more longer.
Yeah, the door was open, but then it got slammed shut right back again when they felt that cold draft coming through the Valhalla Valkyries. They're going to walk up through and end the game unless Meerkat has a key for the lock here. I don't think that they do. I don't think they have enough time here. Relentless One going to get chased out of base, and that is all she wrote for game number 1. Valhalla Valkyries take it in 32 minutes.
Kaolin Wardens tried to find a little bit of a gap at the end, but strangely decided to commit heavily onto the front line still standing. You said that the Valkyries slammed the door shut. I think it was the Wardens slammed the door on themselves trying to get through it. They just sort of committed to the wrong targets there, and it just didn't work out. As we see, as soon as the backline came through, as soon as the respawns came in, that was that for the Wardens. They tried to put up their fight, but they did not take it. And it's tough that the Valkyries just played so well, best around with it at the end, but did a really good job from minute 1.
Yeah, but you have to give credit to the Wardens as well. Yes, they are playing with a sub, and this is the first time Short Fuse has been playing competitive with them. But they look competitive for the first 15-20 minutes. In fact, they started off the better team. They started off the stronger team, albeit they did lose First Blood. But they did manage to reconvene themselves. They managed to regroup, refocus, and got pressure back onto that solo lane. The duo side was getting pressure as well, albeit I think that was due to the build difference that Ron was going over the Ishtar, the sustain versus no sustain. And again, I think that they can take heart in that performance for up until about 20 minutes.
Yeah, up until about 20 minutes when the leads very suddenly spiked all the way up. One thing I wanted to point out is Wowie on this Ishtar actually didn't go for the Seer in the jungle. Actually went for the Protector of the jungle. I'm surprised by that. I still haven't quite done the numbers to find out why the Seer is so good and so generally valued. But 8-2-8, you can't really say why we put a foot wrong.
No, I mean you could say you put 2 foot wrong in the 2 deaths, but I think that a couple of them were unavoidable. Let's be real. Just mass grouping by the Valhalla Valkyries into Kaolin Warden's mass AoE. But having a look at the damage numbers, 36k on Crimson, 30k on Wowie. The damage deal is doing exactly what they needed to do. This Loki pick might be worthy of a ban if it's not been picked up, if the mid laner has not been picked up by phase 2. I don't think it's something you can really ban away in the first phase just yet, but it might be legally at the back of their minds now.
Yeah, they would have to just make so many adjustments around it with so much else you'd leave open. But that's not for us to discuss now. That'll be up for us to discuss when we get into game number 2. We'll be taking a short break, but do not go anywhere because we'll need to see if the Kaolin Wardens can turn this one around.
can change the future, you know. That's what you remind me. They say that life's too short to be holding this tight. So why am I walking light? And in this world of light and color, I'm not afraid of the night. When this future's so bright, that I got all these friends, and we're like, it's not the end. Whoa, this new world is ours. This new world is ours, and all these friends, and we're like, it's not the end. Whoa, this new world is ours. This new world is ours. This new world is ours. They say the life's too short, and I can feel in my bones. The horizon is close now, and the world's been changing lately. But after the storm, we come out strong now. And I got all these.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Kaolin Wardens versus the Valhalla Valkyries. Of course, Judas with AJ again. And AJ, we saw something quite different from the Valhalla Valkyries. It surprised us a bit, I'm sure. It surprised the other team too. And when they struggled so much against a Scylla jungle, a Loki mid, the Kaolin Wardens need to really readjust to play around that playstyle coming out for the Valks.
Yeah, I think it's one of those fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you sort of things where, oh god, I just messed up that phrase. It's late for us here in the UK. It's quarter to 1 in the morning, so just bear with us if we get things a little bit wrong in terms of phrasing like that. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where if they get caught up by it again, they only have themselves to blame.
Yeah, they need to make sure they make the necessary adjustments and have to try to predict what might come their way. So we'll have to see how that goes as we do head on in to the second game picks and bans phase. Now, you mentioned, AJ, coming to the end of that first game, you can't really ban the Loki in the first phase, but sometimes it's just a case of taking away what the Valks played and seeing if they got something else, because again, with the way that the Valks played, it feels like they could have played anything there, and it would have been outstanding.
True, I think that might come down to the fact that, again, these players just are on a confidence high right now. As we mentioned, these players do feel as like they are SPL level quality. They were sort of the top-rated team going to the qualification tournaments, and that is showing a little bit. That is the difference, though, with the Wardens. They are banning away the Nox from Gamma. So that is a change up there. I actually quite like it. I know, just get rid of something, change it up a little bit, because at the very end of that last team fight, autos were hitting Gamma for what, 33, 34?
Yes.
Not what you want to see.
Yeah, the Nox was clearly something that bothered the Wardens. We saw a few times they engaged on the Nox in a way that maybe would be ill-advised, and I wonder if that's just a case of someone in their communications has decided, well, this Nox is a problem, can we just take them out? But it's too late. I had the Lono's mask built up as well, and that means that Nox just becomes an extremely tanky target. Now, I do wonder if the Wardens are going to run back that Ratatoskr first pick, of course, because we did see them highly prioritize it. I thought Shortfuse played okay on it, but instead they're going to opt to take this Hercules as their top pick instead.
Yep, I like it. Aquarius got first blood on it, felt comfortable on it the entire game,
Mother
has
Earth
a
is here
much
for
better
you.
presence in the front line than Shiva. In fact,
Yep.
I think it's night and day between the two in terms of how much difference there is. So Hercules first pick, I love it for the Wardens, great adjustments so far.
Ishtar.
Valkyries picking up Terra and Ishtar. I think so. I think this is a good thing. This is a good dual lane. I think this is probably
Yeah.
the top dual lane they can pick right now, with the fact that
Yeah.
you do have the Aphrodite band, the Emoji band, and the Nox taken away. Terra definitely fills in that sort of fourth slot.
Yeah, Terra just doing a great job right now. Has some sustain built in the kit, of course, which is all so valuable right now. As we also see from the Wardens, Horus coming on out. Something that we've seen plenty of. We've seen a lot of use of that to the Sky's Ultimate as well. We've seen some really creative play with it, both in the SCC and in the SPL. And of course, the tried and tested dual lane of Kernanos versus Ishtar. Kernanos banned by the Valkyries in game number 1. So strong top 3 again for the Wardens, but everything's looking quite simple. I wonder if the Valks are going to shake it up here.
Yeah, I think we might see a little bit of shake-up. They're going back to the
That sounds
Loki.
like a shake-up.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, if it was not going to be picked up at this point, it would have been banned by the Wardens, because this is the time where you ban out sort of counter picks. So Valkyries, recognizing that it could be taken away, just picking it up again and saying, right, you failed to deal with it once, deal with it again. Show me you can deal with this pick. You got your aggressive picks, you got yourself your draft you want, deal with my pick.
And the worst part for the Wardens is it could still be a Loki jungle. Like you can't really ban out here. I'm sure Sam
It could be a Loki
can
solo.
play it. Pass a ban. Passing a ban on the Wardens. You know what that tells me, AJ? That tells me the Wardens have no idea what the Valks are going to bring here.
You always ban something. Okay, this is harking back to like my coat. No, banning the Shiva is probably worse than a pass ban. Okay, that is you're stopping them from picking something which is actively limiting them at that point. Okay, so but I go back to like my coaching days. You never pass a ban ever. So like, there must have been something. Don't forget, these games are pre-recorded. They were played last week. So it must probably have been the fact that they ran out of time for this one in discussions, and it just went over as a pass ban immediately, automatically. That's the only thing I could think of for the Wardens to have passed a banning.
Yeah, it's a surprising choice, be it a choice or not. Again, more ambiguity from the Valks. That could be a Loki mid, that could be a Hades mid, that could be a Hades jungle. This is just flex picks the draft right now. I think the only ones I'm certain of, in fact, the only one I'm certain of is Terra. That could be an Ishtar mid, man. I don't really know what the Valks are going to throw at the Wardens, and I feel like the Wardens maybe not sure either. They're going to take some time for these final picks to come on through. Their top 3 is solid. Hubwa coming in. Didn't perform too well yesterday, but generally a consistent performer.
The moon will purify this land.
That's a Tsukuyomi coming through. So the Warden's okay. Final 2 picks, I quite like it. They're going to get aggressive, and they're going to see what they can do.
I mean, if you could handpick a draft right now and say, right, pick your top picks in each role, I think 4 out of 5 of them the Wardens have got. Hercules solo lane, definitely top pick. Horus, if you want an aggressive support, top pick. Kernanos, definitely battling it out for top spot with Ishtar and with Martigoras. Hebo, that one-shot potential, most likely, I would have put him in jungle myself rather than in mid. And then Tsukuyomi's just there as like a flavor pick. Valkyries, looking in the Agni.
Looking in an Agni. So, again, I wouldn't be too shocked to see an Agni jungle come out here. I can't pinpoint the Valks just yet. We'll have to wait until we actually get to game for that. But same with the Wardens, actually. This could be a Tsukuyomi in the middle lane. It wouldn't totally surprise me. Would probably do quite well into the Loki. And Hebo into Loki mid, I feel like you'd really struggle. I think you'd be under the same sort of threat that Merlin was, but even more so, of course, without having an inherent movement ability. So I really don't know, but both teams really shaking it up for this second game.
No, I think Tsukuyomi could do well against an Agni mid as well. I mean, up until level 5. Once it hits level 5, Agni just dominates the lane. They were talking about it on some of the SPL cast earlier. If you didn't watch SPL earlier today, go back and watch it. Some fantastic sets for you to watch.
After this.
But they were, after this. They were talking about the fact that Agni, you just don't want to be invisible until you hit level 5. And it's going to be no different here.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how invisible this Agony can be and where they end up playing as we do head on in to this second game between the Kaolin Wardens and the Valhalla Valkyries. I called it! I called it! We've got an Agony in the jungle. We've got Tsukuyomi versus Loki in the middle lane. Both these teams opting to shake it up, and shake it up they shall.
Yeah, Battle of the Mages, roaming across the map. A slight difference in their picks. Short Fuse going in for that Bumber's Dagger, meaning I think he might be going in for a Bumber Spear later on in his build. Like Griff, going to be dragging the camp all the way over to this left-hand side to clear everything together with Gino. And this is the advantage of Kernos. Your AoE autos just mean you clear everything so quickly.
Yeah, one of the best level 1 clears, of course, just by default. Of course, combine that with a Horus, who's no slouch themselves. But Valkyries on the other side do clear a touch faster. Of course, the AoE autos coming up from Terra, somewhat equalizing the difference there. And Ishtar with one of the best level 1 clears in the game, not too surprising to see the pressure go in favor of the Chaos side.
I don't know about you, but you ever played casuals where everyone's just picked something random for their roles?
Yeah. It feels like that, right? It feels like everyone's just having fun.
Yeah, it's the most fun, most pure version of Smite. And we're getting close to that here, where both teams are just having a little bit of fun. And I that's what I want to see most. Yes, they're professional players, well, they're semi-professional players who are, playing to prove that they deserve to be in the Pro League. But at the same time, you gotta have fun. You can't play a game professionally if you don't have fun with it.
Yeah, they're going to have some fun. This is, of course, a video game still. Maybe sometimes we forget that with the seriousness of it all, especially with what is on the line for these two teams. Now, playing shaking up in the mid lane, while it somewhat comes across as, Meerkat wanting to have some fun, and obviously Short Fuse picking up the Hebo, it does also work, and they're up Crimson in the mid lane, actually getting very, very low early on. Needs to be careful, because Sam Fasok is doing their best invisibility act. And, of course, that doesn't want to be seen before hitting level 5. Trading blows and huge aggression and snowball potential for both mid lanes here.
Sam Soccer can dictate, but it's actually going to dash it aggressively in mid lane. Meerkat is a bit low, as you can see on the health bar. It's going to be poked out a little bit.
No mana.
By the agonizing visions. But that's going to be all right. That was a very aggressive dash for Sam Soccer.
Yeah, again, wanting to get aggressive in that mid lane. Meerkat again getting low, and I mentioned this could be a snowball lane, because if one team gets an early first blood, it could really make a difference for the context of the next few minutes, and we all know what teams can do with mid pressure. That's probably the worst way to give it up. You really don't want this Loki getting ahead, you don't want this Agni getting ahead. Griff is just swinging away. Wow, he has to use, has the shell popped on them, and we're just flying around the place over in this dual lane.
I don't know if you have ever seen the DJ Predator clip from First Worlds. Was it Shadow Reels? Sorry. If you haven't seen that, it's a classic bit of Smite. But it was almost recreated there by Gamma just dodging in and out of Griff's basic attacks. Like he couldn't hit anything there, Griff. That's just because Gamma just slithered around and was able to, annoy Griff to no end there.
Well, it can be quite frustrating, especially when you've already gone down one game. It's never comfortable to feel, I don't want to say inferior, but when the team has the upper hand early, has an upper hand already in the first game. So the question in this right-hand lane, there comes the Pillar of Agony, gets the beads from Relentless One, opting for the beads again instead of the teleport. Hold on, there's a scrap going on in the jungle on the right-hand side, and Short Fuse will fall down to Sampha Soccer. In a 1v2 situation, Meerkat can do nothing to help that Hebo in the jungle.
Yeah, that is a straight solo kill, and like you mentioned, a 1v2, and oh no, the speed buff invade as well.
Oh no, he gets it.
Oh, the Short Fuses has to feel horrible here. This is what you do as a jungler, though. This is what you do as well as a world's MVP jungler. Is you find the smallest opening, the smallest advantage, and you blow it out to make it look like it was a gargantuan mistake. Unfortunately, that's what's happened to Short Fuse. Got caught out in the jungle. Oh,
whoa! Short Fuse gets in right in the nick of time, but a stun from Wowie will seal that one off. It was a nice attempt there. I might have well had the damage, but didn't manage to make it work as Sampha Soccer pestering over in this right-hand lane. Relentless One's low. This one doesn't seem to smell the danger. There's a stun coming through, and that's enough at the tower. will be enough.
no.
Sam for soccer cannot be beaten by the Wardens, but might be beaten by their structures instead.
Hang on, I'm getting an image of what comms are like. Aquarius, why weren't you tanking tower? Excuse me, hello? It's something along those lines, but obviously I'm cleaning up the chat for you all there.
It might well have just been worth. We do see
could have been
no assist for the Kaolin Wardens as well, so Relentless One clearly unaware of it. I think it would have been the Noxious Fumes actually causing the aggro with that little tick of damage it does before it gets a stun. So falling down is Sam for soccer, but if anything, it stops them going on a killing spree and stops the shutdown coming through. Sounds pretty worthwhile to me.
Oh, true, the shutdown gold has been taken by the tower.
Yeah, that's rich tower.
Imagine if that mechanic worked. You just died to tower.
Yo.
It got the shutdown gold, and then you got to claim it later.
Oh, you get to claim it later, or maybe we just get upgraded structures from getting kills. Like, that would be so cool. Can I upgrade my tower to a Phoenix? Can I have a tier 1 Phoenix line that the enemy just can't cross into? We're getting a little bit off topic here because there's nothing happening for the Kaolin Wardens over in that right lane. Aquarius can't be caught. Does have to use the beads, but aside from that, Short Fuse can't close the distance, and Kaolin Warden's clearly trying to get on the front foot now. Gino's in danger, but Gamma, it's danger on their own. There's a crushing wave comes through, but the Terror will dash on away. As dashing forward is the damage from Meerkat. To the sky goes the rest of the team. Who do they pick as their target? Meerkat's chasing in the wrong direction, or are they retreating? It's hard to tell because Erupt Crimson's retreating. Aquarius is picking up the only kill of this fight. Relentless One can't close the distance. Another kill goes the way of the Valkyries.
And that is a clean fight there. It could have been a little bit better for the Valkyries if Aquarius had to join in with the rest of the team chasing, but he does manage to pick up Meerkat instead. Could pick up another one. Relentless One is the surviving one as he lives. And Griff, he's collecting a lot of farm here, is Griff.
Collecting as much farm as he can, taking all the way into the tower, of course, just to clear it that much closer to their own minions, but struggling early on are the Wardens. They're already about 2k gold down with a composition that really wants to be on the front foot. Some damage onto Relentless One. Sam for Soccer's nearby. Aquarius is
Tower
out.
MVP again.
How much does Sam for Soccer want this kill? I bet it's a lot. I do wonder if they're actually going to go for it. Still sticking around. Clearly interested. The minion waves
Aquarius
coming.
has to go in.
Taking
Aquarius
time
has
off
to be
for
taken
Relentless
again.
One and Sam for Soccer. The moment the minions get targeted. Oh, there's a dash coming out as well because Short Fuse is here. Gets the first shot with the water cannon. Meerkat all the way over as well. Doesn't have the piercing moonlight just yet. Needs one more shot. They shall get it. That's the first kill for the Wardens. Will it be a second as well as Aquarius will get hit by the crushing wave. So finally, Kaolin Wardens find themselves on the board.
That one, I think, definitely has to go down to Aquarius. So you see where Sam for Soccer is. He wants that kill. Has to be calling out for that kill, and Aqua's like probably standing there laughing, saying, "Ha, you're stuck, you're stuck, you're stuck," rather than helping his team member get the kill on the tower. He should be tanking that for him. Should be allowing him to go under and kill Relentless One and get out before the rotations happen.
Yeah, there was a rotation, of course, from Short Fuse and Meerkat, but it did take a really long time, it felt like. Relentless One may be unaware of the situation they found themselves in, but an assassinate onto Meerkat will be an assassination in the mid lane, but Short Fuse will turn that one quickly around. It's mid laner for mid laner, both the assassins falling down quick.
That is caught unawares, Meerkat, as he falls down for the second time. First time to actually be able to kill Crimson, second time this entire set. So doing well this time with the Kaolin Wardens. Looking to get pressure on his left-hand side as well, but that's going to transition into a purple buff invade. Unless Sam has anything to say about it.
Oh, somehow getting the purple buff for the Sam for Soccer and gets the purification beats from Griff. Not worth at all for the Kaolin Wardens now. Aquarius in some danger, dashes in to a lifter from Relentless One, just goes right into the Pillar of Agony, but that will just mean they will sit still, jumping under though! The excavate from Relentless One, silenced into the tower. It will be a kill, but it will be a double kill for Aquarius. 1 on 2. Doesn't matter what you throw at them, Aquarius will still stand strong.
And WoW is being dove here, but it's just by Gino. Griff electing not to take the super highway in the sky. Meerkat getting dove yet again as well. And the Valhalla Valkyries, they're having fun. They're clicking up their gears now.
Yeah, really just having a lot of fun with this. Gino and Griff not on the same page there. Don't teleport on in together. And wow, he's never going down just to Gino. Short fuse now. In a 1v2, spots out Crimson behind them.
Assassinate back up. Assassinate back up.
Relentless One's here, but it will be an assassinate defensively. Relentless One not done. We'll carry on going forward, but that's the solo laner of the Wardens, equal in level to the support from the Valkyries. Now Sam for soccer, trying to get CC'd out by not Gino and just not succeeding. Relentless One can't pull him over because of the obelisk in the way. And now Crimson turns this one around. Wants to get aggressive on the left-hand side. Other Kaolin Wardens as well. Sam for soccer's in a horrible position to be in. And Griff will sweep that one up. Another kill given away cheaply to the Wardens. The Valkyries having maybe a little bit too much fun.
Yeah, we were talking about the need to have fun early and realize, you know, it is still a video game. You need to have fun whilst playing it. Otherwise, what's the point of playing it? Maybe start to dial down that fun just a little bit and dial up the seriousness a little bit more at that point. There is zero reason for Sam to be in that position at this time of the day, in this game, in this specific time of this game specifically. So, why is he there? He's having fun.
It does have that feel of a casual game you mentioned, you know, where people are just doing things, and you might ask why someone's doing it, and they'll say, I don't know, for fun. Something like that. And, well, Sam for soccer's been going for these kills, maybe ill-advised, as we've mentioned, but has fallen down 3 times. Of course, once to the tower, so not giving away that kill to the Valkyries specifically, or sorry, to the Wardens. But, you know, you can maybe become a little bit irrelevant. This Agony not particularly high up on farms, actually down in gold. But
no!
Fuse gets caught, but the protections come back in from not Gino, but it's not enough. Gino now has to retreat as Griff is there to put out some damage. Nice double wild hunt, but it doesn't actually connect. There is the ultimate coming out from Wowie. Now Meerkat all over from the backside, but Griff's retreating the other direction of the wall.
Gamma, stop it! Gamma, stop it!
Absolutely perfect. Gamma with the burst there coming through. Body block now. Wowie gets stunned out. Does Meerkat have a little bit more damage? Griff does fall. Eventually, Relentless One shall also fall. Meerkat does survive for just a moment. Gamma will be chased away. Gino wants the kill, but look who's on scene! It's Aquarius! Aquarius makes the long walk all the way over, catches Meerkat at the very tip of the Pillars of Agony, and it is agonizing for the Wardens now.
Okay, can we just agree that what Gamma did was illegal, by the way? In 2 separate instances. He did, like, the first one, just using his walls to stop the Hero Crushing Wave from getting anywhere. Highly illegal play.
Oh, man.
Disgusting. That's also just brutal for short fuse there. He's had so many brutal things just happen in a short space of time this game. He is not having fun, I imagine.
Oh
Rift's
my
not having
God!
fun. Shino's not having fun. Aquarius is having all the fun.
I think it's more likely the purple buff picks up that kill on Sam there, because Aquarius is playing Protector and Killer right now, just destroying these Wardens, doing whatever they want. 6, 2, and 3 on this Hades. Relentless One trying to scrap with Crimson and falls down to Gamma. Crimson ults away, but it was absolutely unnecessary because Meerkat's being chased into the tower. Can't even secure their own red buff safely as the Gold Fury goes the way of the Valkyries.
And then not to mention Gamma again getting a kill there. He body blocks with himself and the walls to stop Griff getting away. He has played this Terror perfectly, and if you're watching this as anybody in the NASCC, you're thinking, let's not give Gamma this pick at all. Let's not even comprehend playing against it.
Well, this is maybe how you deal with the pick. You go all in, and Gino will get the kill, which is maybe not the one they wanted, but that will be that. We just saw the graphs previously going heavily skewed in favor of Valkyries, but it's almost incremental. It looks a lot like the staircase that the Kaolin Wardens are finding themselves falling down right now as they're really struggling to get into this. Now Gino gets caught by a moment by Aquarius. The damage is good, but will it be enough? Yes, it shall. Sam for soccer picking up their 6th kill of this game as well. The Pyromancer's there eventually. Valkyries will turn their attention toward it, and poor old Griff on this left-hand side, not too involved in the fighting, and find themselves really far behind.
Well, Valhalla Valkyries certainly playing with the swagger that comes with the favorites tag here in the NASCC. 17 kills to 7, 14 minutes into the game, but it's the gold lead you really need to look at. About 6,000 gold in the lead, or just shy of that. The experience difference will probably say something similar, 6,500 there. Aquarius Just toying with Relentless One here. Is he going to get a kill? No. The dash up from Relentless One saves him. But he's been looking dangerous the entire game, Aquarius.
Yeah, Aquarius has been showing up in exactly where the Wardens don't want to see. Now, Griff holding the dash, but has to use the Wild Hunt and doesn't actually connect. Now, where does Gamma waste these stones? Instead, on the right-hand lane, Aquarius is now being targeted out. Knocked up once. Will use the beads, but it won't be enough. Short Fuse getting a big pick there for the momentum of the Wardens. They're not going down easy, are the Wardens, but they're just struggling so much to get any reasonable foothold in the game because the Valhalla Valkyries are playing just so crazily, it's hard to really keep up.
Yeah, they have to commit so many people to a rotation to get something to start to get a foothold. And then, yeah, they get the tier 1 over on the right-hand side of the kill. Whoop-de-doo. But look what's happening over on this left-hand side. Oh, stop
Gamma.
it. Gamma, stop it. He's suffered enough here, Gamma. Please.
Erupt Crimson maybe looking to make them suffer some more. Griff will be safe because the presence of Meerkat is enough to frighten away this Loki. Now Gino's still over in the right-hand lane, aggressing onto Sanfasaka. Somehow, the Wardens have taken the tier 1 tower, so that'll feel at least good, but the left-hand side Phoenix is exposed now for the Wardens. The Valkyries may turn their attention there. I'm saying that as if the Valhalla Valkyries are playing with any sort of cohesive effort here. Everyone's just kind of going around the map doing what they feel like, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but at the end of the day, the Valhalla Valkyries just feeling themselves right now.
Yeah, a ranked match is what you'd say this is more reminiscent of rather than the SCC competitive. Relentless One is getting Pillar of Agony. Short Fuse is here. He misses Crushing Wave. He misses. That could be the death. No, Aquarius dies with the help of the boulder. A Relentless One has. He's gonna have to have words with Short Fuse there.
That was so close to being yet another 2v1, but a 2v1 in the mid lane is what Meerkat finds themselves in. Not Gino, they're providing some good healing. Keeps them alive, though, only for a moment. That's a killing spree for Crimson now. They turn their attention to not Gino, this tower, putting out some deterrence damage. Griff comes in, nice Wild Hunt onto Gamma. They do get the damage, can they finish them off? Yes, Short Fuse can. Kaolin Wardens still putting up a fight, and I'm sure they're not happy with the way that the Valkyries are taking this game. When it's being so ridiculous, it's almost offensive, but no man being offended right now is Gino. They get killed on the tower by Wowing.
No, all it's going to take from the Kaolin Wardens to do is to win one team fight heavily or take an objective, and then the Valhalla Valkyries are going to, they're going to lean forward in their chair and go into serious mode. That's what they need to do, is they need to just force them into a second gear here.
Well, that second gear seems a bit far away, but Valkyrie's now grouping over at this Primal Fury. They'll take it when they feel like it suits them. As Aquarius made the rotation over, we'll begin that objective. Griff is the only one nearby with any intention to steal. This one might look to scrap with Crimson, who is been very safe with their ultimates, of course. But Griff makes the contention. This Primal Fury not going down easy.
No, and Gino's actually going up into the skies. He's looking for an engagement here. Look who's joining him. Griff will be... No, it's just Gino, and he's forced... he's forced to sacrifice his bubble straight away.
Forced to land into a whole lot of nothing. As the Valkyries are still grouped up. Griff clearly wanted to return to base. Again, the communication between Griff and Gino not seemingly working together right now. Dual lane of the Wardens not quite clicking, but everywhere else seems to be clicking okay. They're still present, and Short Fuse on this hub was still relevant. Has all the items they need now to restart churning out the damage. Relentless One on a Hercules. Only doing fine, but you can't be taking that many shots. You don't know who could be lurking behind. Now Gino gets behind onto Sanfasaka. There's the excavate, puts out a lot of damage. It gets the beads from the agony. Lifted up is Wowie. There's the root and the cripple. The Aegis will be a bit to keep them alive, but only for a second. So the Valkyries maybe spend up their Aquarius with the blink. That could be big, but it's not big enough. Yes, tries to still charge on forward. Gets one detonate. Doesn't quite get the kill though. Relentless One with the charge. That'll be enough. Short Fuse now on a killing spree for their team. Gamma isolated and surrounded. And that is 3 kills now for the Wardens. Valhalla Valkyries might have to sit up in their chairs.
That's what we're talking about. Just force them into a second gear. And that's what the Kaolin Wardens are doing here by winning that team fight handedly. And they're also going to be able to get this objective. They do secure the objective. Sneaky attempted to steal that from Sanfasaka. But this closes the gap right down. Go to the graphs, are going to see a shoot right back up in Kaolin Warden's favor.
Wow.
Not as big as the spike as I thought it was going to be, but it has half the deficit.
Yeah, the deficit now, 2.6k at 90 minutes, is really not a whole lot. This is where you would be expected to contend with a Fire Giant fight or a Pyromancer push. It is certainly not heavily in favor of the Valks. You know, they're not in a demanding or dominating position anymore. You know, it's now a situation where we saw Aquarius there had a really good ultimate, then a good re-engage, but you know, not quite as far ahead as they previously were, and well, Pyromancer might well go the way of the Wardens.
Well, Pyromancer, the next objective on the map, but finally, we're seeing a grouping for the Valhalla Valkyries. They're actually looking like a unit 20 minutes into the game. And this could spell trouble for the Wardens, because so far they've been fighting almost individual members, individual cells of the Valkyries. Now they're having to fight the entire unit of the team.
Well, this one tried to get a knock-up on the Crimson, who immunes it with some knock-up immunity. Pyromancer still maybe being targeted out, but both ADCs still hanging out over the left-hand lane. The position advantage is with the Wardens, but the Valkyries are more than aware of the situation now. Aquarius on the backside comes on in, does a ton of damage to Short Fuse, who has to use the ultimate to get on out, but Aquarius might find themselves in some danger. Gets CC chain lifted up and killed off again by Short Fuse. Aquarius not having the success they once were. 6 and 6 now on this Hades. The ADCs join the fight. This Pyromancer will not go cheaply for either one.
Yeah, so 4 versus 5 in favor of the Wardens, but they're not pushing into this objective just yet. They know that it did take a lot out of them to secure that kill onto Aquarius, and they're just waiting to see if they can garner a better position, and now is the go time. They are on a ward, so the Valhalla Valkyries know this is being done, but they can't get into any position to defend it anytime soon.
Yep, too far away. Other Valks, Sanfasaka throws out some meteors, but will not connect with the all-important objective. And now, gold lead is very, very negligible. Runic Bomb on either side means the Secure is a full-on 50-50 if either side decides to go for the Fire Giant. It's hard to analyze a game like this, AJ, because, again, the Valks are clearly not taking this at 100%. The Kaolin Wardens are rightfully punishing them for that, though. They are still playing as a unit. They have been coordinated in their efforts. They struggled early on. That's sort of what these compositions like the one from the Valks are meant to do. But are you expecting the Valks to just turn it together? You said they might sit up in their chairs now, but do they have the composition needed to take an equal engagement?
I think they do. So far, it's just been difficult for them because Aquarius has been the one that's engaging onto Short Fuse, rather than letting Crimson engage onto Short Fuse, letting Gamma engage onto Short Fuse instead, just waiting for a counter engage onto the backline instead.
Yeah.
They need to change up how they're approaching these fights if they're to be successful. Otherwise, we could be going to a game 3 here where Kaolin Warden's looking rather more impressive and a more cohesive team out of the two right now.
Yeah, they've put it together tightly, and we did say for game number 1, the Wardens weren't completely blown out. You know, the first 15 minutes, it was a more than even game. It was slight edges here and there. It's when it got to that, full Fire Giant, Ty was being taken stage, the Valkyries really looked neat and tidy, and, certainly looked like a different team to what we're seeing in game number 2 here. Now, again, we know they're just having a bit of fun, but how much fun can you really have? So you have to turn it on to the serious mode. Now, the only Fury comes on up. I'm sure the Kaolin Wardens will be looking to take this one away.
Well, here we go. Valkyries are grouping up as a 5 near enough, and they're turning their sights onto Relentless One. Beats have been used. Gino dashes in to save his solo laner, and that is going to be the mini engagement done. Next one coming up on the cards in a second, and it's going to be the same target yet again, same play yet again. Relentless One down to 80% health.
This one low, has to back on away, but the only Fury not being started up at all. Now some damage coming out from Short Fuse. Nice grab there from Relentless One, but that's not the target that they were looking for. So returns that one back to the sender. Will not be interested in striking them into their team, but Gamma stepped up. It only takes one moment of aggression now. This one low, has to back on away, uses as well. Now Aquarius trying to get in on the re-engage you've been discussing about. Nice stun there onto Relentless One, but not quite enough. Both teams taking it tentatively now. I think the Valhalla Valkyries are fully upright in their chairs.
Yeah, but what they have done there, Kaolin Wardens, is they've just They've danced in and out successfully to the point where they have baited out the Earthen Fury. That is a huge T5 ultimate down for the Valhalla Valkyries. It looks like they want to just try and get this one sorted as quickly as possible.
Man.
That is a great pillar.
Great pillar comes in, drags in the front line solo, swiping around though is Meerkat on the backside, gets one down, Aquarius out this fight, but Griff dies with their troubles.
Where did
and
they
just
go?
like that, 4 people make that, 5 people have died. The Valhalla Valkyries put it together, churn through the enemy team and take down the Oni Fury.
Yep, I think they're playing seriously now. I
Yep,
think
yep.
it's okay. It's back to normality. Valhalla Valkyries on top once again. Where did Kaolin Wardens go?
I saw
two of them get sucked in by the vortex that is Aquarius and is just Pillar of Agony and Pillar of Doom. But the rest of them just dropped to the wayside instantly. Crimson and San Francisco must have just been on an absolute tear in the backline.
Yeah, you did see, the dive coming out from Meerkat was pretty good, getting a lot of damage onto very relevant targets, but in the blink of an eye, it must have been San Francisco just firing off those shots, and Aquarius did the damage they needed to before going down. That's sort of all you need from your solo laner. You want them to do what they need to do, and if they die, well, not such a big deal. But that's an Oni Fury and a Fire Giant and a Pyromancer for the Valhalla Valkyries, finding themselves yet again at a 7k gold.
Oh, Crimson forces his ult to get away, but look who's there immediately. It's Meerkat, and there's through the skies as well, just to try and cut him off. They're going to be able to get a kill here. Can they get 2?
Oh, they switched to the wrong side, but that does not yet matter. San Francisco caught by the Wild Hunt and has to dash
Mid
on
lane.
away. Now dashing aggressively, the rest of the team. But yeah, look in the middle lane. This should be all the runic bomb used by San Francisco just to stall for some time. There's 4 people here. Need to be careful they don't lose too much in the process. That will be a Meerkat getting the shutdown for San Francisco. Meanwhile, Relentless One is just stalling because in mid lane, this Phoenix has gone down to the Oni minions. Relentless One is not too tanky when Wowie is firing shots into them. It's a huge minion wave here as well. Griff goes down on the right-hand side as Aquarius stops the backs. The retreat now from the Valhalla Valkyries, but Gamma and Wowie done what they needed to do.
They got a Phoenix. They managed to push the wave into the Phoenix on the left-hand side as well. Gino being chased out by Aquarius. But again, they just took their foot off the gas a little bit. They felt comfortable in second gear, felt it was a bit too serious for them. Went down to somehow a gear and a half. Don't know how that's possible, but they managed to find it somehow, and San Francisco and Crimson paid the price for it.
They're sort of in that stage where you've switched it to second gear, but you're still holding the clutch down. It's not quite gotten there yet. But yeah, that play in the mid lane from the Valks makes a lot of sense. Oni minions piling on into that Phoenix. They're not going to take it alone. Now, for the Wardens' point of view, it is only the mid Phoenix, and it's not ideal ever losing a Phoenix, but if you're going to pick one, you probably would pick that mid lane Phoenix. It's sort of the easiest to defend, and there's still an opportunity, but I don't really know how Aquarius managed to pick up a kill there in a 1v4 situation. That really just can't happen.
It's simple. Look at his build. He is damage central. He's also got the Sacrificial Shroud to make sure he does even more damage. And I think he's going to upgrade his Bancrofts. He has the possibility to upgrade his Bancrofts or his Royal Tahuti. Ideally, it'll be the Bancrofts into the Bancrofts Claw to give himself a little bit of a shield, some more survivability. That's the route that most Hades players will go for.
We'll have to see what they decide for. It wouldn't surprise me if Aquarius just went for the Calamitous Rod of Tahuti just to do a little bit more damage. But this right side Phoenix is the siege point for the Valks now. San Francisco takes a chunk of damage as Short Fuse dishes out a chunk of their own. Minions are slow, and it is full 5 on this right-hand side. And actually, the Valks are going to back away, not feeling confident with not a lot of time left on this Fire Giant buff.
Well, now Fire Giant buff, as you mentioned, goes down. 28 minutes on the clock. Fire Giant respawning in about 53 seconds. The question is, do the Valhalla Valkyries wait for it to be an enhanced Fire Giant before they take it? It wouldn't take them too long to do so, only they just wait about 40 seconds after the respawn. It is possible that they just wait out that timer.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they were to do that at the moment, with the way that the Valks have played this one out. Because even in game 1, they took it very slowly. They were not overly aggressive in the middle lane. And now Relentless One find themselves in a bit of danger and will driving strike aggressively because coming through is Gino into a Pillar of Agony and cannot dash on away just yet. Now, I think the Wardens might have found themselves in a spot they don't really like because Sampasaki gets a good angle, dumps out all of the bombs, and there's the Assassinate to follow up with the health bars.
Short fuse.
Are still there, apart from for Short Fuse. Will fall down to Wowie. Sampasaka dashes in aggressively yet again, and Griff will go down to Aquarius. Meerkat nowhere to go. Crimson will fall to Relentless One, but it is just the front line remaining for the Wardens. Do they have anything to defend this Titan? Although no minions just yet.
Oh,
Relentless
Jesus.
One takes so much damage
That
before
heal.
he goes and can't get away. There is Wowie finding more shots. There is Gino going down as well. It is a deicide for the Valhalla Valkyries, and surprising not anyone based on how game number 1 went. They take a very clean pre-30 minute 2-0 victory. Fantastic performance from the Valks.
Yeah, they probably could have got that game done in about 22, 23 minutes if they were playing the way that they ended the game throughout of it.
Yes.
But no surprise they were having a little bit of fun with themselves and with the Kaolin Wardens there. Just honestly, it shows that they are the favorites here for the NASCC. It shows that they are still the team to beat, the team that every team should be aspiring to and planning against.
Yeah, it's of course tough. Like we said, came in to those SEC qualifiers as the absolute number 1, and even were top priority in the SPL qualifiers too. So really played like it this time, at least for some stages of the game. When you get down to the mechanics and everything, absolutely fantastic individual play. Of course, a little bit scrappy that game number 2, but game number 1 was a clear example of what this team can do.
Yeah, and to be honest, I do like how the Kaolin Wardens played as well. I mean, yes, they come up on the short end of a 2-0 here, but I do think that, Bearcat, he had a solid performance in mid lane on the second game. I think Short Fuse, both games had decent games. With Ratataska was the early game, for this Hebo was the early and mid portions. It seemed to me that it was just the team fight phases where the Kaolin Wardens came up short, which you're always going to be able to do against the Valhalla Valkyries. Their team fights are always going to be quite a significant portion of their game, given the caliber of players that they have in there and given their history. So for Kaolin Wardens, it's not a worry this week, I don't feel.
No, especially as we mentioned with the substitute coming in for Meerkat, coming in instead of PandaCat, and with Short Fuse playing their first game of this SCC season, it is understandable there may be some teething problems, and probably the worst team they could have come up against for this situation is this Valhalla Valkyries lineup. But that is it for today. I hope everyone's had a good time, and that was a great performance from those Valhalla Valkyries that we should make sure we keep an eye on for the rest of the NASCC. But today it has been your full EU broadcast with myself, Judas Priestley, and Alpha Jackal. Of course, we've had Printers and Rosie in the backside providing production and spectator, as is always necessary. We have one more day this weekend. We have the EU SCC coming up in the morning, and then a full day of SPL before the final NASCC of this weekend. So plenty more action to tune into. Hope you've had a great day today, because we sure have watching this. We're now going to go head to bed right on cue. Perfect time for bedtime. But we'll all be seeing you again very, very soon.